One of the most mysterious and powerful women in Ottoman history, a life shadowed by palace intrigues, power struggles, and heartbreaking losses, Ayşe Hafsa Sultan, the mother of Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent, a woman whose influence helped shape the course of the Ottoman Empire. Her story is woven with love, betrayal, ambition, and death. But what really happened inside the palace? Who was betrayed? Who lost their lives? All the secrets are in this video. Ayşe Hafsa, Sultan's journey begins in 1479 in the cool and beautiful lands of Crimea. Back then, Crimea was a place of wide plains, fresh winds, and rich Tatar traditions. Ayşe Hafsa grew up there, surrounded by her loving family, enjoying a peaceful childhood. Imagine a little girl in her father's court, or maybe in a modest home, listening to stories told by elders. Evenings spent gathered as a family, listening to Tatar legends, dancing to music, riding horses across the open fields. Those moments were pure happiness for her. She would share warm meals with her family, perhaps traditional Tatar pilaf or sweet pastries, all served with laughter. She would play with her siblings, pick flowers, and stroll by the riverside. These were the softest memories of her childhood. But life wasn't always so peaceful. In the late 15th century, the Ottoman Empire was expanding rapidly, and the Crimean Khanate faced threats like the rising Safavid power. That political tension cast a faint shadow over Ayşe Hafsa's childhood. Perhaps she overheard her father's worried conversations about the uncertain future. The thought of leaving her family to go to the Ottoman court must have been difficult. It meant leaving behind everything familiar. It was her first taste of heartbreak, a mixture of sadness for what she was leaving and excitement for what lay ahead. Still, the strength and grace she gained in her youth would later shine when she became Valide Sultan. She was known as Ahu Gozlu, gazelle-eyed, a term for beauty, elegance, and charm. History tells us this was a time when women's roles in the empire were beginning to change, and Ayşe Hafsa was about to step from the soft soil of Crimea into the grandeur of the Ottoman world. Her youth blossomed in the 1490s when she met the Ottoman prince Selim, later known as Yavuz Sultan Selim. Selim was then the governor of Trabzon, a land of green valleys, the sound of waves, cool forests, and the fragrance of wildflowers. Ayşe Hafsa entered Selim's harem there, beginning a journey shaped by the traditions of the Ottoman court. She was just 14 or 15, learning the customs of palace life, the daily routines of the harem, music lessons, poetry readings, and the refined arts of family life. Picture her taking morning walks in the palace gardens, having breakfast to the sound of birds, spending her afternoons embroidering or reading. These years were full of warmth, her bond with Selim growing stronger day by day. Perhaps at night, they sat together under the stars, dreaming about the future. But not everything in youth is easy. Selim's disagreements with his father, Sultan Bayezid II, stirred political storms. The Safavid threat was growing, and Selim was preparing for rebellion. Ayşe Hafsa stood by him during these tense times, maybe spending sleepless nights in prayer, hoping for safety. Life on the eastern frontier was not without danger, and yet she also experienced the joy of motherhood. Her first son, Suleiman, was born on November 6, 1494, in Trabzon. The house filled with joy, days of baby laughter, sleepless nights, and first steps. Her other children soon followed. daughters Hatis, Fatma, and Behan. This was a time of family growth, love, and the occasional hardships of frontier life. She nurtured her children with stories, moral lessons, and care. Her youth in Trabzon was a mix of love, family, and challenges, shaping the woman and mother she would become. When Selim took the throne in 1512, Ayşe Hafsa moved from Trabzon to Istanbul's Old Palace. Their marriage was now official under Ottoman law, a union of both love and loyalty. The palace opened a new chapter for her: magnificent rooms, friendships in the harem, and the thrill of political life. She was more than a wife, she was Selim's trusted advisor. When Selim went on campaigns, they exchanged letters full of both politics and affection. But palace life had its storms: rivalries among the women, jealousy, and subtle tensions. The greatest sorrow came in 1520, when Selim died. Losing her husband filled her with grief. She spent days in tears, finding comfort in prayer. But joy returned when her son Suleiman ascended the throne that same year. She became the first woman in Ottoman history to hold the title of Valide Sultan. This gave her both honor and influence, guiding the women of the harem and organizing charitable works. Her children were her greatest treasure. Suleiman, her beloved son, always respected her deeply, seeking her advice even as a ruler. Her daughters brought joy through their marriages and families, but motherhood also brought unbearable pain. Several of her children died young from diseases like plague. She buried them with a mother's heartbreak, yet held on to her strength for the children who remained. As Valide Sultan from 1520 to 1534, she was the gentle leader of the harem. This was the early stage of the Sultanate of women. She kept peace where jealousy and intrigue thrived. The rise of Hurrem Sultan, Suleiman's favorite, brought new challenges. Ayşe Hafsa tried to balance Hurrem's growing influence, protecting her family's position. In 1524, tragedy struck when her daughter Beyhan's husband, Ferhad Pasha, was executed on charges of corruption and cruelty. Ayşe Hafsa pleaded with Suleiman to spare his life, but the Sultan chose justice over mercy. This loss deeply wounded her, but she found solace in her charity work. In 1522, she built a great complex in Manisa, a mosque, school, hospital, and public kitchen. She even sponsored the creation of the famous Mesir Makunu, a spiced herbal paste made by the healer Merkez Effendi to cure her illness. The mixture of 41 herbs and spices restored her health, and she ordered it to be distributed to the public every year at the Nevruz Festival, a tradition still alive 500 years later, celebrated with music, dancing, and the tossing of makan packets from the mosque's minarets. But by 1534, her illness returned, possibly heart disease or cancer. She spent her final days in prayer, thinking of her family. On March 19, 1534, at the age of 55, Ayşe Hafsa Sultan passed away peacefully in the old palace. She was buried beside her husband in the Yavuz Selim Mosque. Her funeral was attended by crowds, their prayers and tears a sign of the love she inspired. Ayşe Hafsa Sultan's life is more than just the story of a woman. It's the story of an empire, filled with love, betrayal, power, and tragedy. Her role in Suleiman's rise forever shaped Ottoman history. If you want to uncover more palace intrigues and untold secrets of history, don't forget to like this video and subscribe, because the mysteries of the Ottoman court are waiting for you.